I would say it's definitely more difficult. There's a lot more water running and pushing against you. So as long as the current's behind you, it's helpful.
Another wet day puts a damper on another weekend, but it's more than just gloomy weather for today's Rose Festival dragon boat races. This relentless rain is causing river levels to rise. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brittany Folkers. Rain and high water forced parts of Portland's East Bank Esplanade on the Willamette River to close. Bryant Clerkley was out there today talking to people along the river. And Bryant, this is on the floating portion of the Esplanade. So how long will that section be closed?
Hey Brittany, well, it will be closed until at least Wednesday. Officials say the Willamette River is expected to rise to over 15 feet today. That's the threshold to temporarily close the floating portion of the Esplanade. People that use the area for recreation say they're ready for the rain to stop.
In fact, we're not running over on that side of the river today because we heard on the news last night that it is closed. And we've had to skirt some of the area along this side of the river too because of the river being so dang high.
It's a busy weekend for recreation along the Willamette River, with runners bearing the consistent rain and the Rose Festival's popular dragon boat races returning for the first time since 2019. Portland's Parks and Recreation had to close the floating portion of the East Bank Esplanade. That's popular for cyclists, runners, and walkers. The rain is not just affecting the Willamette River levels. Over at Johnson Creek in southeast Portland, the National Weather Service sent out a tweet about minor flooding. The creek is expected to reach around 11.5 feet. Officials say evacuations are not necessary until the creek reaches around 14 feet. Back on the swollen Willamette River, Guy Doherty just finished his dragon boat race.
And it was rainy the last 2 weeks, so we got ready for it. The debris is also a killer out there too, because there's massive logs floating around. It's pushing real quick because the water level's high.
On the Columbia River, water levels are rising as well, which means less clearance room for boats and faster water. This will result in more bridge lifts, which could last up to 20 minutes at a time.
I've lived here for 13 years and I've never seen this much gloomy weather and rain at this time of year. I'm ready for sunshine and heat.
Multnomah County Sheriff's Office also sent out a tweet telling swimmers to stay out of the rivers for several days, especially the Sandy River, because of the fast-moving water and debris. And over in Vancouver, to prevent flooding, federal water managers are increasing storage behind the John Day Dam in eastern Oregon. Brittany?
We'll be keeping an eye on it. Thanks so much, Bryant. As you saw, the dragon boat racers were back on the Willamette today. Teams competed for the top prize this afternoon. They've been training for more than a month, and today it was time to show off all that hard work. Dozens of people filled the waterfront park yesterday and today to catch the action. More than 60 different teams from here locally, nationally, and internationally compete in these races. Racers say they're so focused on the race that they don't even hear the crowds. But that changes when you're done.
Then it's like party. Then you start hearing all of the crowd and the hoopla and stuff once you've finished the race. So that's the fun part, right? When you know you've caught that flag.
The event has been held on the Willamette River near the Hawthorne Bridge since 1989, and the boats are provided through the Portland-Gauchang Sister City Association. The Rose Festival, by the way, is still going on for 2 more weekends. Next weekend is the Juneteenth celebration with a parade in Northwest Portland and a festival at Lillis Albina Park. Yeah, very gray out there. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri here with me now. And Joe, it just seems like every weekend it's been rain. We've seen like some little slivers of sun, but so gray.
Right, and we talked about this earlier in the afternoon. We've only seen 3 dry weekends this spring, and we're almost wrapping up spring. This is the second to the last weekend of spring, and we're continuing to see those showers, and it's going to get pretty nasty along the east side of the state, and that's where really all the active weather has been so far this weekend. We have a lot happening in the forecast, not so much here locally in the metro area, but you travel over the mountain passes, you're going to be seeing some snow showers. No issues traveling along Highway 26 or Highway 35, but regardless, several inches of new snow is in the forecast. So let's get right to the radar. We'll zoom out a little bit. Still going to be kind of seeing some lingering showers the rest of your Sunday night. At times it it will be maybe heavy in a few locations, especially toward the foothills of the mountains. You travel along the east side of the state, we are seeing some heavy, severe weather with some thunderstorms and some lightning strikes, and that's the snow showers I'm talking about. Again, it's going to be pretty high in terms of seeing any accumulation. Up at Timberline Lodge, you're seeing a light dusting right now, but by the end of the night, you could be looking at anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of new snow. And this is what I have my eyes peeled on over in the far reaches of the state over in eastern Oregon. You can see near Cecil, that blue color you're seeing is some hail that's falling with some of these thunderstorms. And that's going to be the reason we have some flood watches in place throughout parts of eastern Oregon, the rest of tonight and into early tomorrow, just east of Bend. And then you travel over into the Columbia River. Bryant was talking a little bit about this in his piece, where there's going to be seeing some minor flooding. I just looked at the river levels just before we came on here, Brittany, and we're looking at just shy of about 15 feet in terms, or 16 feet rather, where it reaches the flood stage. So there could be some minor flooding, and that's going to continue here the next couple of days. The river will start to recede heading into late Tuesday night and into Wednesday, and that's when we'll start to see some showers kind of taper off. We'll start to see some showers move through at times a good part of tomorrow morning into the afternoon. Rainfall amounts, though, will be on the lighter side, close to about 1/10 of an inch of rain, and then we will see some drier weather and some sunnier conditions heading into the middle part of the week. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, can't wait to hear about that. Thanks, Joe. Well, let's take you to Vancouver's waterfront, where a big project is making progress. The first part of the Port of Vancouver's Terminal 1 redevelopment is now complete. Tim Gordon shows us Vancouver Landing is just the beginning of much more to come.
A ceremonial ribbon cutting this week marked the official completion of Vancouver Landing, part of the Port of Vancouver's 10-acre Terminal 1 project.
Your commitment and hard work on this project is truly remarkable, and I am so incredibly proud of our team.
Vancouver Landing has transformed what was an old concrete amphitheater at the west end of the site into more varied and inviting public space. Now a walkway through history with things to see and learn, even etched into the concrete at your feet. Port Commission President Jack Berkman says that's important.
Because it's honoring the history, which is very, very deep. Not only our history here, but as was said earlier in our ribbon cutting, the history of the tribes that have lived here for thousands of years.
Vancouver Landing is just the start. Terminal 1 also includes where the old Red Lion at the quay used to be, now being demolished to make way for a huge public pier and market, plus other amenities for tourists and locals alike. What's to come compared to Pike's Place on Seattle's waterfront?
With this kind of park sort of setting, it'll be a great place to come and grab some food, enjoy the outside, again, right down on the river.
A bit more than 100 years ago, the Port of Vancouver established its original warehouse at Terminal 1.
An area with a lot of history being remade for Vancouver's future.
It means yet more access to the waterfront, which people really want, and economic development, which means jobs, and people want jobs too.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.